mind. And that's it. There's no commentary of this. I don't even know what to say. And the brother-in-law, remember Tommaso, the brother-in-law, Ashley Banfield said, our services, our experts, our impeccably placed law enforcement people say, absolutely, that most probably it was he who was involved with it. He, most probably. And Tommaso said, what? Yes, you're our number one suspect. And I don't know if they ever followed up on that, if they clarified it. Does he have, dare I say, a cause of action? One would certainly think for defamation, reckless disregard for the truth, just saying this, publishing this, because you've got some impeccably placed person. And by the way, if this person's so impeccable, why haven't they found anybody? No, you don't see anything like ever in terms of true crime and the like. Never. Now, coming up, my friends, in the fourth and final hour of this, I find, and if you don't understand this, I don't blame you. When we talk about the perils, the dangers, the pitfalls, the frightening aspects of AI, it's very difficult sometimes for people, and I understand this, and I'm not trying to keep saying this, but it's difficult sometimes for people to really understand everything there is about it, because it blows everybody's mind. But coming up, we're going to show you something which I think is incredible. We have a song that Mr. Blaze wrote about his own dark, dank world, seeming underbelly of his world, his demented world of disobedient dogs and 4-track drum machines in the attic. It's a long story. But he has this piece coming up. And then we'll also discuss deep down what it does to humanity by destroying humanity. Because somebody once said, I think even tonight, which has been an old thing, when AI, AGI, artificial general intelligence, when singularity is hit, when the convergence of machine and man cannot at all be differentiated in terms of the information sync. When that happens, the question then becomes, how long do we have before we're out of the picture completely? How long before somebody says, that's enough, you're done? And how would they go about doing it? What purpose would we serve? We do nothing but get in the way. Get in the way, use up resources, and bother people. The fourth and final hour coming up, perhaps one of the most frightening on the other side of midnight, 800-848-9222. More coming up. Stay tuned.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
This is The Other Side of Midnight, and I'm Lionel. Why don't we go over and see what's happening at the 77 WABC News Desk, shall we? And I'll use my best dead factual voice. Or is it Walter Carter? Is there a difference? Ladies and gentlemen, a coalition of nearly 24 states is pressing the online fundraising platform GoFundMe. Gotta be careful how you say that. It sounds on it. Why don't you GoFundMe? In any event, GoFundMe to answer serious questions about how donations are being handled on its site. Attorneys General and charitable. By the way, notice how I said Attorneys General and not Attorney Generals. Why? Because I know what I'm doing. And how do you address an Attorney General? General. Seriously, like that. Attorney General and charitable may be collected in ways that are not transparent. And a formal letter sent to the company, the state officials asked GoFundMe to identify any, quote, unauthorized donation pages that may have been created using information connected to legitimate charities or fundraising efforts. Regulators are also requesting documentation showing who actually received the donations, how the pages were generated, and whether the listed credentials, or the charities rather, were aware of or approved the campaigns. Another key issue involves the way GoFundMe donation pages appear in internet search results. You see, officials want the company to explain whether search engine listings could direct donors to pages that resemble official charity appeals, but may not be directly controlled by the organization themselves. Imagine that. Publicity on the internet? I say no way. The coalition is also reviewing GoFundMe's tip system, which allows donators, did I say donators? I don't know why I said that. That allows donors to voluntarily add extra money to support the fund. Regulators are examining whether those funds should instead be directed towards charities receiving donations. GoFundMe has not yet publicly responded to the request for documentation, but I assure you, when it does, you better believe I'm going to be there. You know, this may be a bit desultory or elliptical, but nonetheless, that's the way I am. If you're the same way, wear a long coat and nobody will notice. But I'm tired of this thing called tip. Maybe it's just a Manhattan thing, maybe it's a New York thing, but the other day, it seems like everywhere I go, there's a tip jar. At the dry cleaners, there's a tip jar. There's a tip jar at the drugstore, you know, for retrieving a prescription. There's tips everywhere. Now, by the by, one of the notions that people will always have, especially when you're having a drink and there's some genius, is that, you know, tip is an acronym for to ensure promptness or to ensure prompt service. Balderdash and malarkey. No such thing. Absolutely not true. The word tip came many decades and centuries and millennia, no, hundreds of thousands of years ago. And you can quote me. That's funny how we just come up with things, isn't it? Swear. Well, that's what it means. No, it doesn't. How about this? News. What we're doing right now, news is from another acronym for Northeast, West, and South. Balderdash, Poppycock, absolute bilge. No such thing whatsoever. Never happened. People swear to this, and that's another issue that we must address at one particular point. Maybe not now, but the epistemological aspect of knowledge. How do you know what you know? As an old medical school adage once taught, if you hear hoof beats, don't think zebra. Now you might wonder, what does this have to do with GoFundMe? And that's a great question. And the reason why is, or reason what it has to do, I should say, is nothing. But I find it interesting. And that's all that matters, as long as I find it interesting. You don't mind me doing that, do you? You better believe it. So if I go off into some elliptical tangent, forgive me, I'm human. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for at least appearing to be amused or interested. And now, my dear friends, the other side of midnight. That's right, the other side of midnight recommences in 30 seconds.
77 WABC's Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili John time is 4:05.
The Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili, helping people just like you for 40 years. Work with confidence. Call 718-816-0005 or visit aglawnyc.com.
Let me offer lesson number one about America. President Ronald Reagan once said, all great change in America begins at the dinner table. 77 WABC agrees. Serving up food for thought and bringing you entertaining and informative radio since 1921.
Did I mean this? Sincerely, I've seen a lot of stuff. This, my friends, is the deal.
From our dinner table to yours. Thank you for listening to 77 WABC. The views and opinions expressed by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the policies or positions of WABC Radio, its management, or its sponsors. This is The Other Side of Midnight.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
With Lionel.
All right, Orlando with you. Hour number 4 of this thing of ours on the other side of midnight, 800-844-9222. You know, I made a reference to the various platforms, WhatsApp and Telegram. I think Signal's another one. And someone had said, a very good friend of mine says, be careful. The WhatsApp, excuse me, the Telegram folks, that is, quote, Russian. Then, of course, is the Telegram Messenger LLP. The founder is Pavel Durov. He's a Russian entrepreneur. Registration in the UAE. Early structures tied to British Virgin Islands and offshore entities. And it is not owned by any government or multinational consortium, but it is, however, controlled by a person, Pavel Durov, and a small group of investors. So from a U.S. perspective, it's 100% foreign controlled, mainly by a Russian-born founder. But let me ask you something. Do you feel any better with WhatsApp? Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg, who would you trust more than Mark Zuckerberg? How about everybody? And those glasses are coming back, those Meta glasses. How about Elon Musk? Do you trust Elon Musk? Do you trust anybody? Where do you think your numbers and your phone calls and your thoughts and your data, where do you think they go? Tell me where it's safe. Tell me anywhere where it's safe. Tell me anywhere you feel like when you say something, it is somehow shielded. That the metadata is not corrupted, is not taken in co-op. Tell me where you can go. Tell me. I don't know. I don't know. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of those things where you say, you know what? You just got to be very, very careful. Now, let me talk to you about this AI for a moment. I hope you don't mind. Oh, if you do, if you help it. This is not just beating a dead horse. As I said, the number one, absolute number one, I guess you would say, the number one existential threat that I feel, that I worry about, when I say worry about, I'm very, very concerned about, is AI. Absolutely, positively, 100%. And when I see little children, little babies, especially newborns, and I see them with their mother and their father and their little pram, I think to myself, what kind of a world are they going to know? They are born in public, or rather in captivity. Now let's talk about something else. Is there anything that you believe in the whole spectrum about the human experience that you feel that you have to, oh, I don't know, say, I guess what I'm saying is, can you tell me one job that a human must be involved in for you to feel comfortable? For example, I believe there will always be Broadway. I always believe there will be a performance. There will be a performance. And right now, we kind of tend to believe that we like to see human beings act as actors. We want to see human beings. We don't want to see some droid, some robot, some AI or AGI fueled machine walk around, some General Dynamics robot doing this. We don't. Because in our hearts we're saying this isn't real. This isn't what I want. Would you want to see a game of football game or baseball game of droids? No. What's the point of that? Watching machines play? No. Now, you say that, I say that because we're used to it. But there's a brand new generation that will not know the difference. And let's talk about the arts. If you like, why did you like the Beatles? I know this may sound strange, but when the Beatles came out, it was the four lads. You liked the lads. You liked who they were. They were different. They sounded different. They looked different. Ringo and what if one day we eliminate that? And I say, well, we'll give you music that makes the Beatles sound like hikers. Would that affect you one bit whatsoever? So just it's a Mad Blaze who always, his theory is, if I can break the system and if I can keep people out of their talent, I will do it. That's the way he thinks. It's demented, but it's honest. But everybody, give us an idea of what you're going to play for us and why this is exciting.
So, I think this is just an extension of what's always happened in, well, maybe it's a little bit different in music, because we went from acoustic to then synthesizers and computers and the way you record now, and now it's bled into AI, and there was big controversy and lawsuits about AI and how it's learning. Right, it's learning from copywritten music, and they have a
Scraping, it is scraping. In order for it to, like large language models, it predicts the next word. It predicts. It doesn't. It's not what you think it is, and it uses the entire library of music and news that it scrapes from. But is that the same in any of it? But that's
right. It's almost like an inspiration, because it's not.
Right.
It's not taking exactly something. So it's almost like if you said, "Well, I was inspired by Led Zeppelin to play rock and roll and to write songs," it's sort of taking the next step of going, "Okay, we're going to take all of this
laceration on the forehead, and it happened at 1851 Worth Avenue. That's the address.
Keyboard sound and where it goes from
a variety of sources, not just one particular. So good at trying to figure out who's responsible.
Exactly. And right now, there are some digital distribution sites that will not take AI music at all, and then there are some that will. And music, they'll put it up there. The only thing they don't want is something that's copyright protected, or it sounds like an imitation of somebody else. So you can't say, you can't take an AI voice of Taylor Swift and upload an AI song of Taylor Swift and call it something else, because it sounds like Taylor Swift. That you can't do. But if you just make an AI song with a voice, that's okay. That doesn't violate.
And I know a hard time if you didn't say, for example, this is Taylor Swift, but if you said, "Oh my God, this is almost indistinguishable," you do realize that if I were to go out and I would sound exactly like Taylor Swift, it'd look like her, but if I sounded just like her, that would be okay.
Right, because you're imitating, but
no, what if I just happen to sound like it's amazing? I just sound just like. They wouldn't claim copyright because it sounded. And I
guess it would be like parody, maybe, because you're a person, as opposed to an AI-generated voice.
Under the classic
of Taylor Swift.
Under the classic copyright standard, do you confuse something for something else? There was a guy years ago in Las Vegas named Frank Sinatra. What was his name? And he had Frank Sinatra, and they said, no. But my name is Frank Sinatra. No. Not in Las Vegas. No, sorry. And even though it's his name. All right, so tell us what we have here.
So, we've made AI songs. We took the Gia Giudice song with her lyrics put to AI music. There's other songs that we generated that were totally AI. Put something in, set it, prompt, and it spit it back out. What the AI does now, and what a lot of musicians are doing with AI, they're using it more as a tool. So let's say, and I kind of used to think of things like this, like, wouldn't it be great if I could hum something into a microphone and have a computer put notes to it, and then I could be able to hear it in a keyboard sound, or hum a drum pattern and be able to have drums do that. So now the AI is doing that. So this is an original song I wrote.
Is this a song or lyrics?
No. This is an instrumental song that I wrote 11 years ago. It's a demo. Actually, I can start playing it because I can talk over it because it goes kind of long. So this is all me. I programmed it, drum sound, I wrote the keyboard lines, everything
yes,
about this is
just
all.
be advised, I have mobile retest outside with a pickup number 24.
So
no description, the female has a laceration to the head. no weapons.
Into the AI.
Being
So I
requested
said,
District 33 to respond and 33 Sergeant and 33 Charlie 1 are responding.
so I said this entire song, and it's very short, this is like a demo.
10-1 and
Into the AI.
mobile Sergeant 2.
And you can adjust how much of the audio do you want to use of it, how much of the style that you describe that you want. And then it has a weirdness. Right, I guess it makes it kind of glitchier, weird.
Right.
I don't know. And it's like 50, 100% whatever. So here's the main part. That's the build. So this is considered big room house music, the festivals. Again, this is not AI. This is what I wrote 11 years ago. So I thought, hey, no, this has all this.
Okay.
So this is basically it right here. So I fed it into the AI. I said I wanted it in a tech house style.
Okay.
I gave it a prompt, and then
Okay, I
even
did
with the
get all of that.
AI,
What was the
you know
name,
how like when
Danny?
you edit pictures, you have a little magic wand?
Yes.
So the AI even has that, where it takes what you wrote and it even makes it better for the AI generator to understand what you want. So I took that. I had ChatGPT write lyrics. I said, a girl walked into a club, she's the center of attention. So it wrote the song, and it said, she's this, she's that. I said, no, write it from the point of view of the girl. So it generated one, I didn't like it, I said something else, it generated another one. Okay, that's it. I took those lyrics, that song, and fed it into the AI. And this is what it came out.
For what?
I feel it already.
Yeah, right.
It's in here. So here's another. Here we go.
And it's much clearer, it's more, it's differentiated.
There's a chord change.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Now this goes.
I've heard that actor, British Presley.
So I had to put that in. I specifically said a British accent because the first versions came out, it sounded like Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like that.
Now, in case you just realized, none of this is real from any perspective.
No. Except it took what I wrote and flipped it.
Right. So it's the basis of this. Now, being completely crazy at this point, what if I were to say, I want somebody who seems confused, a bit daft, maybe inebriated, somebody not sure of herself, who is a terrible singer, little off. And what if I just wrote this? Somebody who is,
check it out and see what
somebody who is, she was a heavy smoker. She suffered some kind of esophageal trauma years ago and has been perhaps forced out of the business. This is her comeback. How much of a story could we
You're
give?
right into the AI prompt.
But first, before we do this, we remind you this is Lionel with you on the other side of midnight.
Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
If you're starting this new year wanting more control of your health instead of leaving it to a broken system, then the pharmacy for you is All Family Pharmacy. You see, they help people get access to essential medications, including some that the big chain pharmacies make it hard to get or refuse to even carry. That's why so many families rely on them. When everyone around you is getting sick and you want to prepare, you need All Family Pharmacy. If you're tired of dealing with insurance and want affordable medications, you need All Family Pharmacy. When your doctors refuse to prescribe ivermectin and treat you like you're out of line for asking intelligent questions, you need All Family Pharmacy. You see, the process is quite simple. You order online, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your medications shipped to your door. They carry antibiotics, Tamiflu, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, benzendazole, and all of your everyday necessary medications and more. So if you haven't already, switch to a pharmacy you can rely on. You can do so by going to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone, and please use STONE10 as your code to save 10% on your next purchase.
The 77 WABC Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili John time is 422. For 40 years, the Staten Island law firm of Anjuli and Gentili has been helping people just like you. Call 718-816-0005 or visit aglawnyc.com.
Coming up at 5 a.m. on the 77 WABC News Hour with Noah Layton.
I'll have the latest on the war and data on rising rents in the city.
And people are paying it. I think that's what's most remarkable is I'm still seeing bidding wars. I'm seeing lines out the door at my listings.
That story and more at 5.
The 77 WABC News Hour. Weekday mornings at 5. Before Sid and Friends in the Morning. 77 WABC. An American original. Talk Radio 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Now, this is a different version.
A different one. This one's fine. Very good. It sounds like I was in the middle of the year, almost like Now, are you still doing the raves, the legal rave party? But if you were to do this, think about this. You would have to pay any BMI get nothing. Nothing. You'll play music all night long that you made on the spot.
Oh yeah, that you could do. And like I said, there's this controversy of how much of it is yours and how much the AI do. So something like this, I could probably copyright this because I wrote the original music that was fed into the AI. The AI was used as a tool.
Right. But when
If it's totally generated, you could still own the music and own it, but you probably, they're saying right now, you would not be able to copyright it.
yeah, see, the law always lies behind technology. But this is when somebody uses what would you call it, a sample? When somebody does,
Right.
remember when
Oh, that was a big, huge thing about in the very beginning when hip hop was using samples
right.
without, and they're going, wait a second, that's my song. I mean, the Beastie Boys' second record, Paul's Boutique, could not be made because it would cost a fortune for the amount of samples they used to make that record. Because now you have to pay for that. So if you have any samples of anything else, you have to have it cleared.
You know what? We're also seeing this in the world, as you know, of from watching crime videos and all kinds of videos. It will take your video. Like, for example, they'll take a Candace Owens video, or they'll take a whoever video, or Alex Jones, it doesn't matter. And they will take something, and they will strip it out, put it into it, and as long as I comment on it,
Yep.
it's mine. That is so bogus. It's not.
It's fair use.
There you
They call it commentary. So
Right.
you could take, there's a lot of these first reaction videos. So they'll take like,
Stop right there. There's a woman. They'll get some black woman or black man to hear something that's for the first time they've ever heard. Michael Bolton. And they'll say, ooh. You know, say, okay, I know.
there's like these two, they're twins, like
That's
these
it.
black teenagers.
Yes.
And they'll hear like classic rock for the first time, and they comment on it. There's a girl that I follow on YouTube, subscribe to, that's like an opera singer teacher.
Yes.
And,
She talks about the singing style.
Singing style, then she will do this analysis
Yes.
of like heavy metal. And she'll be like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. Or they have this voice. And it's weird because it's songs that I've heard a million times, never ever thought about. And she goes, you hear how they do this little pitch thing there and this and that? And I'm like, wow, she really breaks down the technicality.
Also, Rick Beato does that with his channel as well. But here is the question which I want people to understand. And this is what I think is critical. It's not whether, AI can write or sing or perform, but the deeper question I have is simply whether people, you listening at home or other people, will care who or what created the work. Do you think that matters?
I don't. I mean, musicians don't like it. I can tell you that right off the bat. So I thought, my brother is a musician through and through. He toured. He was a touring musician with a punk band called The Dents in the early 90s. They were real big in punk music. And he toured Europe with The Dents and plays the Boston scene. And when I played the stuff that I made, and he was like, how dare you? I fooled around with that, but I don't like it. I said, well, I'm using it for the radio. He said, well, that's different because you're using it to do radio things. He's like, but just to do it, because he was a real, working musician. And he used to tell me, there's guys like Bon Jovi, and then there's the working musician that go from bar to bar or club to club. And he was one of those people.
But the thing is that people value, the human being behind the performance, the voice, the judgment, the selection. They want to see the sweat. They want to see the flub. They want to see whatever. But do they want to see it, or are they used to that and they think they want it? What if they said, I don't want to flub? And what if somebody says, to be honest with you, I'm not really here to see anybody even perform it. I don't even care whether, I just want to hear the music. Because remember, we have a new generation of people who are born in captivity. And none of this makes any sense of it. It makes no difference.
Well, they don't know about, so the new performers, the new rock stars, DJs. And some of these DJs are pseudo-producers, or they say they're producers, but other people are producing for them, and they slap their name on it because they did some songs years ago. They have a big name, and they slap their name on it, and they play their music in front of a crowd of thousands and thousands of people, but they're not playing instruments. They're playing CDJs, or CD players meant for DJs. They're turning the filter knob on and off. That's what they're doing. They're not actually playing an instrument. Those are the new. Why do they care if the music is totally AI?
But those are, that's the instrument. When synthesizers broke through in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when Moog came out, Moog in particular, the programming. Keith Emerson came along. He might know a little bit about the programming, but basically it was a keyboard. But
you still have to know how to play a piano.
Right. But that's not. So you can say, okay, well, what's the difference between knowing how to play a piano and knowing how to turn a button, turning a button? You can say, well, that's not it. Why is that not? I know how to slide a slider. I know how to turn a button fast. What I'm saying is every single thing that we're doing, everything is being reconfigured. In fact, at 30 past the hour, by the way. And people are going to say, we don't care anything about this. Painting. Here is a story. What must you have delivered by the human being? What is it? What? If I, for example, one of the reasons why I think people love Dylan so much because he's Dylan. He's weird and he's strange. And look how different he is. Look at that one. This is his Blue Biz, this period, his Nashville period. They really kind of wanted to know him. He was so strange. Yay, Kanye. Here I get back into it. That's him. The Beatles, to an extent, maybe to an extent. That's a part of this as well. What I submit to you is eventually people are going to say, play the music, I don't care who it is. If I'm going to, I don't care who's doing this, and you're going to see what you could see, the complete elimination of human-based music, but some of the greatest proliferation of stuff that will blow your mind in terms of the sound. What if I said, wow, what if it took, if I could say, I'll play Magical Mystery Tour, which is really based on, a lot of it's from Brian Wilson, because Pet Sounds changed everything. But I can do this 25 years ahead. You don't have to wait. People don't care. So I don't care about whether, this Pet Sounds is one because Brian Wilson was deaf, and that's why his ear was contorted. And his father, Murray, used to beat the hell out of him. And I don't care about that. Yeah, but that's why this is so great. No, it's great because I like it. Help me run. I don't give a care about the backstory. Don't you understand? It's a poor freshman. I don't care what it is. That's what people think. They think it's easy. What this? News, background, weather, sort of. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a very serious tough one. Let's go to Dave in Pennsylvania. We're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Lionel, do you think it will ease the tension or possibly end the war in the Strait of Hormuz? Did I get that right, or is it the Gulf of Hormuz?
Strait.
If female artists like Taylor Swift and Jessica Mitchell went there and entertained our troops for the good of America and to ease the tension.
What are you talking about?
Taylor Swift.
No, I didn't say to repeat yourself. I'm saying, explain to me the premise of it. I'm going to send
Vietnam War.
Let me try this again. I'm going to send Taylor Swift. I'm going to say, Taylor, yes. Would you like to help your country? Well, of course. I'm going to send you to the Strait of Hormuz. Do you know why that particular strait is so important? Because when a tanker comes, it's a very, it may seem like a wide area, but it's thinner because it has to make this weird kind of strange turn in order to remain within the viable depths of appropriate depths or whatever. You need special kind of help from not tugs, but it's a tough little angle to negotiate. Okay, fine. So we want you to go there, and I'm going to entertain who? The troops. Or the troops well, not necessarily the troops. But we want you to go there and risk your life. This American individual, a sign of American largesse, American capitalism. I don't even know where to start with. But Dave, I appreciate your curiosity. It's fantastic.
Swift gave $1 million to feed hungry people.
Dave, I swear to God, I want to know what you're saying. I really, really want to understand. I just don't have enough time. Tom is Chicago. Tom, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, I was calling because like AI auto tunes back in the day when they first came out, people loved it. They didn't care if they could sing or not.
Right.
You know, and then like Milli Vanilli, they'll start doing that kind of thing. I think that.
Well, that's a different story. That was
if you sing, if you do the AI and I have somebody perform it, you know.
Well, let's go through what you said. Let's go through what you said. Very interesting. That auto-tune stuff was interesting because that was it was a distortion of somebody singing. But also, there's also sometimes, what do you call it, Blade, where I can correct bad things. Is that auto-tune? Pitch correct. The number of people who actually have had their voices affected. And, as we mentioned the other day, now this may be different because it acts more auxiliary, but click track. I I'm creating a very easy form for you. I mean, never feel Buddy Rich never had that in his life. Gene Krupa, Max Roach, they never had any of this. Even Neil Peart, I think, may, who knows? But the point is, does that make a difference? See, that's the part that makes me, I wonder, when is it the augmenting, the assistance of something? When is it the replacement? And when is, what if I went and I said for you, I'm going to take, I'll get one for you. Let me throw in something. Give me classical music. Probably even easier. Give me a thread that's from Chopin or Brahms or Mozart. And give me something of what they would play today if they were alive. Now, what have I stolen? Nothing. But I've used basically the inspiration of sorts. I've never seen when Lichtenstein came up with the kind of pop art thing in that particular look, that was his. I use it sometimes all the time if I want to do a thumbnail or something. I don't use a Lichtenstein, but I'll say, give me this picture, but change it, and whatever. Next thing you know, I'm using his particular style to create something that's completely different. And the point is, I don't know what's real anymore and how it will end up. I really don't, and I think it's going to be bad news for artists.
But I think that music has a way of coming back around. Like 8-tracks was out then, now you got the record players coming back out. Vinyl is coming back out, and like people, you said Bob Dylan. Mm-hmm. After that movie, people started buying Bob Dylan music. You know, and it was like, okay, they got into it again. You know, the new it's just a cycle. You know, I think it just runs in cycle. Like you say, we the old people, we gonna die off and they're gonna start. They don't know. And you say playing football, they probably love it now. They're playing football and they get the human element out of it because it's like a video game now.
You know, there's a couple of things which is kind of interesting. Younger people, there's a Gen Alpha. I think they're like children now, like little bit. Anyway, whatever. I can't keep track of this stuff. Alpha, Beta, who knows? But aside from that, a couple of let me go back. I'm speaking gobbledygook here. Do you remember that when I read this, more people watch The Sopranos now than when they were on cable? More people right now, and it's almost timeless. The only way you can tell the Sopranos is The Sopranos is maybe a car, a particular style. Okay. And one of the reasons why why do you think people love The Sopranos? Well, I will make it very easy for you. They could not believe that Tony Soprano and others would use the N-word, or they would say something so blatantly racist by today's standards, and they loved it. And they said,
like Archie Bunker.
Pardon me?
Archie Bunker.
Right, but no, this is Archie Bunker. No, Archie Bunker was mild. They said these are criminals. These are murderers. Why would they care about not being politically incorrect? That's number one. Number two. But they also said there was a plot line, and this was once a week. Wow. The other one was the show Friends. A lot of Gen Zers or whoever they were loved that because people said, were people like this really? Were friends like this? They were actually like this? They talked and they shared? One woman asked my wife, and this was a very educated woman, she said, what is it like to date? How did that work? Who would ask who? Did you wait? No, seriously. So forget the AI. Yeah, you and I will be dead. But we're talking about people who have never understood the rudiments of anything. Let's go a step further.
I got one for you. A friend of mine was handing me a stick of gum, and I got the gum, and the girl said that was gay. And I was like, how? What made it gay? Because she handed me a stick of gum. And I was just like, I was puzzled, like, how do you get gay out of him handing me a stick of gum?
And the answer was?
Oh, I never got the answer. I just wonder how did that, but a lot of that stuff goes on today that you say things or do things that people are like, oh, the new people be like, I don't know, y'all actually rode the bus, you know, things like that.
If I told somebody one time, and just so that people know, my whole of a good time is not to sit around and be nostalgic and say, you know, when I was a kid, I look at the comparison. Yeah. One thing was, if I asked young people, what about a love letter? Let me bring up some words to you. What does it mean to court somebody? What does it mean to flirt? What does it mean to not hook up, but flirt? To write a love letter, to seduce, to woo, to allure, to lure, I should say. They would look at you and they say, you don't even understand that one of the reasons why what we did made sense, the reason why things were good is because it just happened to make sense. Let me give you an example of something. How old are you, Tom?
55.
Huh? How old?
55.
Okay. When I told somebody, that I'm going to explain to you something, I said, people laugh at this. I have a friend of mine in the family who's a teacher. And she said, do you know that when you used to go outside and you would play a ball, I would sit there with a ball and say, here, this is a ball. And you would say, see, this is a sphere. You got the shape, and you're touching it, and your hands are grabbing it, and your brain is doing calculations you can't even imagine. And you know the relative weight of this. Now, Tom, I'm going to stand over here. Now, toss this at me. How fast do you think you have to do to get it to me? You are making calculations. You're not throwing it like Sandy Koufax. You realize it's not a very long ride. I'm going to be very light. I'm going to give you just enough force. And lo and behold, son of a gun, it lands perfectly right where it has to go. And your brain is calculating. You don't even know what it's doing. Okay. Then what you're doing is you will take certain things and you will use a pen. And when you use a pen, you use a tactile function. And when you start to do other things, you have to learn how to track in order to read. When somebody looks at a social media, a platform, everything is blasted. It comes right at them. The eyes can look straight ahead, and they don't have to move. There's no tracking, so they can't read. So, bottom line, they can't hold pencils. They can't track. They have no sense of depth perception. They don't understand how these little things. Give me another example. One of the best things kids can do, and I'm not saying this to sound corny, is to climb a tree. I think I may have said this. Climbing a tree is so important. It's not climbing a tree, it's coming down. That's the problem. That's it. And you're on your own. I think I can tell you all day long, put your leg over or anyway. Things that we did inadvertently. If you found out somebody in our neighborhood had a refrigerator box, a carton, we're there. Mm-hmm. For some reason, that's what we love to do. You know that my sister said that she was in one particular class. She's a teacher of other. She was in one concept. I forget where it was, but people didn't know how to do analog clocks. They didn't even know what it meant. They couldn't do it. And my wife found out from a woman from a very prestigious university that her department head said, don't write in cursive. This is guys, they don't know what this is. They can't write in cursive. Now, Tom, what is happening?
How do you sign your name? How do you sign your name?
You print it. They don't sign, you print. Please print it. And also what it is when I see this, listen, I'm a Catholic school person, and I know how to hold a pen in the Palmer method. But when I see somebody say, here, sign your name, or when I see them grab a pen like they're going to stab somebody, I realize you've never seen this. You've never even seen this before. So what I'm trying to say is, that some of it may be important, some of it may not. But there are certain things that you have to do. Let me give you another example. Years ago, there was a thing called the Doman theory. And the Doman theory was, people would go to the psychiatrist, and the doctor would say, find out from your mother if you ever crawled. Because some people never crawl. Some just skipped over it. Most babies do, but not everybody does. And if you don't crawl, so one case is, executive says, no, I did not crawl. I said, good. I want you to crawl. He says, what? Crawl like a baby. Give me 1 week of this. What happened was, in order for your brain, certain parts of your brain to innervate, not enervate, but innervate. In order for myelin, when baby brains, then myelin, that fatty sheath, in order for brain structures to connect, for there to be interconnectivity, for the parietal lobe, all this stuff to kick in, what God and nature said was, I accomplished this by Crow. And when a child realizes that it is here, that its presence is known through the parietal lobe, where a baby sits and says, I am aware of myself. Try explaining this to somebody. These are critical points. If you miss this, you have to go back and do it again. Because that connection is there. For example, if you want to date somebody online, you can jump to the head of the line and say, hey, great, I saw her, we hooked up. When you meet this person, you're going to go back and you're going to court her from the get-go, even though you've been talking on the phone to her. You have to do things in certain succession. You have to do them. And it's not because of some kind of love of the midwife or some romantic period. It's that certain things proceed in a developed pattern that you can't get around. And we're going to have some of the most screwed up people. And I'm telling you, we're going to have camps one day where kids go to learn how to throw a baseball, how to ride a bike. Most people can ride a bike, but you can climb a tree, to do puzzles. Remember when you look at a puzzle, you were a kid, and I said, okay, look at this thing. Look at this box. What does the box tell us? Well, it's what do you have that? You got the sky, the top. Okay, so here I'm handing you a blue piece. Where does this piece go? Oh, it's a sky piece. I may laugh as a joke to you, but to kids, it teaches them strategy. Yeah. We did stuff that we didn't realize we were doing. We didn't understand why it was important. It seemed kind of stupid and backwards, but it was critical. Absolutely critical. And what's happening right now is, and what lawyers are going to be doing? So much of law, for most practical people, really don't need serious lawyers. They need clerks. Like in the British system, they have solicitors and barristers. They really need a solicitor. If you want a deed done, if you want some kind of mortgage, that's really what you want. You don't need what you think you need. If that makes any sense. Evelyn in Hudson.
Okay, Lionel, I'm going to be real quick. I love listening to your callers. 3 things. I came into the room and listened to that music. That sounded like something Cirque du Soleil would perform to. What Blaze had written or whatever. I thought it was fascinating. I loved it. I would buy it.
You hear that? Are you going to be selling that we did the best of Blaze?
I just might have to,
like something from Cirque du Soleil.
Does this have a name, your song?
Well, now it does, because with those lyrics, it's just called All Eyes on Me. Because they wrote the lyrics, and I named it All Eyes on Me. But I am going to do other music. And I have other songs that I do.
Excellent.
That I also did myself.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But second, I love Yuri. Third, Lionel, you've got to be the most fascinating person I have ever met.
I've got to be one of those. I must be, but I'm not.
You've got to be who you are. And I love Blaze, and I love Yuri, and people in work think I'm crazy for listening to you all night long.
Are you at work now? Are you at work now?
Terrific.
Are you at work?
I'm just getting ready for work. But when I get home, I put an hour around to sleep, and my alarm goes off at 1 o'clock, and then I'm up for the rest of the day.
You are so kind. By the way, Evelyn, what do you do? What is your work? What do you do?
I work in education, and I asked a little student, Layla, I asked her parents if they ever heard of Eric Clapton. No. Ever heard of Derek and the Dominos? No. So, believe me, I can identify with that. And the best time I ever had, Lionel, as a kid, honestly, was a big refrigerated box from 181 Broadway in Bayonne. I had a ball. We had about 6 of us. Best time. Well, I was doing that, and I remember that.
You remember when you were a kid, and you ever played something where you and your brother, sister, friend would get a couple of chairs, spread a sheet or a towel out, and you play fort. You hide.
Yeah.
Okay? Now this is the thing. You're hiding. Now wait a minute. What does that mean? Deception? It's hunting? It taps into something so atavistic, so hunter-gatherer, so foraging, so it's the only thing I can think of. Why would hiding because that was a talent that if you had, you lived the life, and it was so much a part of us that it was inculcated to be a part of us, and it was passed on through natural selection. So we go back into these things. And it's almost an instinct that we have. You know, the only instinct, the only fears that we have theoretically are loud noises and falling. But we have certain instincts that it's great to watch, like a new baby, the perioral reflex, you know, the Babinski, the this, the Palmer. It's great when you see nerves unravel. But there are certain things that we love to do. We love hiding, and we love the sense of being able to, we love to disappear. And that's why, in particular, when a baby learns peekaboo, that is so great until you break the news to them and say, by the way, did you realize that just because I can't see you, doesn't mean I didn't go anywhere or you didn't go anywhere. That's one of the hardest concepts for kids. That's object permanence. That's Piaget. One of the hardest things for kids to realize. Wait a minute. That's right. If I'm not here, I'm still here. Just because you can't see me. So, for example, if you close your eyes and open them, I'm still here. They sound like nothing to you, but that is the precursor to God. That is a precursor to everything. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean it went anywhere. It doesn't have to be in front of you for it to exist. Huh?
Okay, well, Ryan, let me just tell you, I have to tell you, trimester 2 report cards are coming out soon. If I had to grade you and your team, your entire team, I'd give you all A+++.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. You're so kind. More coming up on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
The other side of midnight with Lionel. Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Pain Points of Wealth Podcast.
Get our independence from China as quick as possible. Like, where are we in that game, and where do you see us over the next couple of years?
We're in the first inning. We got a long way to go. I think one of the reasons that we're here and talking about this, we have entrepreneurial companies that have the capability and the knowledge to move fast.
Yeah.
And we're moving fast.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
This is Greg Kelly. Go now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. One Top Podcast with Bo Dietl.
My friend Louis Gregory, we're headed for some trouble here. The country's divided. What's your view?
Well, you know, I certainly tend to agree with you with the division that we're experiencing. And a lot of the things that the left are mad about are the very same agenda items that presidents from that party were pushing. Pretty much every single one of them were giving speeches with the same talking points that President Trump has given with regards to the need to protect our borders, to stop illegal immigration, and that's not a political agenda, that's the Immigration and Naturalization Act. That's all that govern the United States. Maybe if people could learn civics and understand what's what, then they would know how to expect the changes that they want, rather than blaming and demonizing the people that are here.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. The Other Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Oh, I wish. See, like, I listen to these drum sounds. This is a Lynn drum machine in 1986 was $4,000.
And now?
Now you can get the sound.
Now you get it with a fill-up at a BP, and they throw one of those in. You don't hear things that get more expensive than were cheap at first because they didn't know what they were. And now they're expensive. And now, you know how much this costs? You know how much this costs, son?
You know what's funny? Something once they get outdated, they become really cheap, but then they go back up in price. And you can't find them. So like, the original one was, and I went on eBay in 2007. I bought it, the same thing that cost $700 in 1991. I bought on eBay, practically brand new, for $80. Now, it's probably like $1,500 if you can find one. Because now they're rare, and I have to get the old one fixed so I can go back and get my old piece.
We are not going to recognize, maybe we will. The good thing about it, too, and I will say this before we forget. Thank God for Pro Tools, thank God for this. It liberated musicians from having to go to a studio, have to get the studio done, pay the money, and get, for example, Steve Gadd is just I was watching Rick Beato drum his fill or whatever, and his song Asia, it's still talking about it. Did his buddy wait for him? Okay, fine. If I can get somebody who can do what he did artificially, what am I scared? That's the sad part.
Yeah, and especially in technique, like Rush has a new drum. Mm-hmm. Picked anybody.
The woman, right?
Yeah, and she can play.
Yeah.
You got to be able to play one of the hardest drum parts ever written by Neil Peart.
Right, Peart, right.
Even though he said Neil.
By the by, before I forget, the drummers that I love to watch, Gino Vanelli is one of my favorites. And his band, he's a drummer. All his drummers are the best. And there was this guy years ago, Rocco, his kid's like 17 years old. He had an Italian name. And people wanted to come to see him. Not just Gino Vanelli. But he had, you never heard playing like that. And isn't it funny? It was something as simple as two sticks and the same skin. The variation. And to watch, Stuart Copeland and all these people, they're just sick. How about that guy? Have you seen the fellow who plays with one stick?
He's like a Russian or something. Yeah. He's crazy fast, and he plays all these crazy drum parts with one hand.
With one hand.
And I always get the ones that do they review him. They go, this one guy goes, what's he do here? He goes, oh my God, every time. But if you want to see a drummer, Tony Royster Jr. He's probably, I think he's in his 30s, maybe he's in his 40s. When he was like 11, he won the Guitar Center drum-off. There's videos of him all over. He toured with Jay-Z. He's a professional drummer now. Watch him.
Tony Royster
Jr.
I want to thank you, Mr. Yuri. Thank you, Mr. Blaze. Thank you. What a night we have had. A morning to me. I don't know. It's dark is all I know. It was incredible. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making our job so much fun. Being with you means the most to us. Don't forget, you can reach me at Lionel.news. And until next time, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
The news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know. Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports, and now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, March 5th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Patchy fog, heavy rain this morning, then light rain this afternoon, high 44. Tonight and overnight, more rain, low 38. And then Friday, cloudy, high 42. If you're walking out the doors on right now, 34, cloudy in Montauk. Out on Long Island, it's 41 and cloudy in Rahway over in New Jersey, and it's 40 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studio.
He's the top 5 at 5.
The U.S. strikes on Iran continued overnight. Is it really safe for those overseas to come home? Vicky Palladino says she has the right to say whatever she wants. Kids continue to be mugged by adults across the city. And some Walgreens workers are wearing body cams now. Are you okay with that? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. The U.S. will start striking deeper into Iran, and the war is still in its early days. That's what officials have been warning over the last 10, 12 hours on the ground. Israel said it's striking Iran and Hezbollah targets in Beirut. Iran, meanwhile, watching a lot of strikes in Israel over the last 24 hours. So we have these human rights agencies that are giving us death toll numbers. I don't know how accurate they are, but they say over 1,000 people have been killed in Iran since the war began. Iran has accused the U.S. of committing an atrocity at sea after that sub sank its warship in international waters, the first since World War II. They say over 80 people have been killed, many more remain missing from that ship. Evacuations, they are ramping up. The log jam of stranded passengers starting to clear a little bit as airlines schedule new services and governments rally to charter these flights around the world. There's like 20,000 flights have been canceled, maybe more than that at this point. This morning, we have watched explosions that have rocked Tehran again. More residents saying they're unsure whether to stay in Tehran, stay put, because they believe that these are missiles that are being fired at government officials, or to flee the city. Initially, you saw those traffic jams as people got out of the city. Now people are saying, should I stay? Should I go? They just don't know. But again, we're hearing those explosions this morning, just in the last couple hours. The president continues to weigh in. He says he would rank Operation Epic Fury on the scale of 1 to 10 at 15. The president says Iran was out of control and would have used a nuclear weapon if they acquired the technology.
When crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen. So we're in very good shape now. I want to let you know that, and we will continue forward.
And the president said we would be worse off if we had not gone in and made those strikes back in June during Operation Midnight Hammer.
So we're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. And, you know, it's really a nation that was out of control, and they would have used it on us if we let them, if we waited any longer.
The White House continues to say that ground troops are not a part of the plan, at this time anyway. White House Press Secretary Caroline Levin making the comment to reporters in what was her first briefing since the operation began on Saturday.
There's many leaders in the past who like to take options off of the table without having a full understanding of how things could develop.
She says Iran is getting crushed. She says America will soon have complete dominance over the airspace over Iran. She says the operation also ends years of U.S. appeasement. She said those days are over.
The plan for this operation at this time, but I certainly will never take away military options on behalf of the President of the United States or the Commander-in-Chief.
And during this press conference yesterday, she says the White House is working and did insist to warn Americans in the Middle East before Operation Epic Fury was launched.
So we will help every single American who wants to come home if they're making that request of the State Department.
Now, a lot of Americans overseas will argue with that. They'll say they got a warning just maybe with hours before the operation began. There was no way to get out, so now they have to wait to come back home.
There have been plans in place, and that the State Department has been very clear to the American people traveling within this region not to travel to these regions.
Well, we'll hear after 5:30 some people say that's just not accurate.
And the State Department is asking that they register